but definitely the information therein is quite a lot. I must make this very early disclaimer. The information is a lot. The good news is the recording is, the presentation is being recorded. So if somebody does not understand everything here, they can always refer back to the recording and still benefit from that. So as Vida put it, this session has been organized by the Excellence Foundation for South Sudan, and it's about applying for the Chevening Scholarship. This is an information session, especially for those who are interested, but also those who want to share the news or the knowledge with the others. He already mentioned my name over there, and I am a Chevening scholar, actually selected for this year, 2023. I'll be starting my master's course in the UK in London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine this September. So I thought before I would really fly over to London, if I could share a few of my experiences with people today, especially that the new application window is soon coming up. As usual, whenever I'm presenting in these weekend sessions, I like to look at who applied for, or rather who registered for the call. So according to our registration sheet, 347 people registered, 313 of them are males, only 34 females, and I think that's not quite good for the ladies out there. And we had some questions that are very, very necessary and helpful. Are very helpful for the Chevening scholarship or application. And one of the questions was if the person registering had a bachelor's degree, okay? 333 of these ones who registered said yes, and that's really important because the Chevening scholarship will probably only work if you have had a basic degree, a bachelor's degree, and now you're applying for a master's degree. Those who responded no, unless you have other equivalent qualifications that can be equivalent to a bachelor's degree, I think it will be difficult for somebody to get the Chevening scholarship, because then they might not get the admission to a university in the UK in the first place. The second question, also very important there, was about years of experience, at least 2 years work experience. Chevening translates 2 years work experience to 2,800 hours of work experience. That can be either voluntary work or internship or actually paid work, professional work. So at least one has to have 2,800 hours of work or an equivalent of 2 years work experience. So for that question, majority of the people who registered, 308, said yes, they have that level of experience. Only 39 said no. The other important thing I also captured was how many times has anybody applied to Chevening among those who registered for this call. And 292 of them, I don't know how many of them will join. Currently, I see only we are about 79 participants, but majority of the people who registered said they had not tried applying for Chevening yet. 46 people said they had once tried. 8 people twice tried, and only 1 person said they had tried 3 or more times applying for the Chevening scholarship. For the majority who said no, they have never tried, I hope in this session you will learn a lot, and when you put your application first time, you will be able to make it. There are people who have made it on the first attempt as well. So that's just basically the kind of people I expected in this call. As usual, during my presentations, I like to put a disclaimer because information needs to be received the way it is meant to be received. So this information sharing session on the Chevening Scholarship is simply to enlighten prospective applicants on the process of applying and possibly how to put up a very competitive application. It does not mean when you attend this session, you are 100% going to be selected. Please, I want to make this clear. It does not guarantee, because I'm not somebody who participates in selecting people, okay? And the views we will express here, myself and other people who have received Chevening Scholarship before who will be in the call, will definitely be sharing experiences that are not necessarily what Chevening Scholarship is about or believes in, or even Excellence Foundation who organized this session. So I just wanted to make all those disclaimers clear. So why did I think of this session? I just have these three things to say. First is I'm trying to pay it forward because by the time I got selected this year, I had to do a lot of my own stuff, a lot of consultations and so on. And most of it I will maybe share in the next slides. But the most important thing was that I had to lean on others who have been through the scholarship, either freshly selected last year or others who have actually gone to the UK, completed their studies and returned to their countries. So I learned from them, and I want to pay it back to them by telling others the same things they told me. So I'm trying to pay it forward. I also like this quote that I learned about 12 years ago, that a rising tide lifts up all the boats. It will not select that, let me raise this boat and let the other one sinks. It's a tide, so lifts everything. And I think it's helpful for us to live to that saying, that when we see that we can uplift somebody, let's do it. And then lastly, one very famous scientist called Sir Isaac Newton, an English scientist, of course. He is famously known for saying this statement that if I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. So I think this really relates to me a lot in terms of the Chevening Scholarship journey. So that's basically why I thought of this session, and I appreciate EFSS for organizing. In this session, we will cover a few things. First is to look at what the Chevening Scholarship is. We'll look at eligibility for this scholarship. Most important for today is the application timeline. It's very, very, very soon coming up, opening up. So you need to grab this very well. And then we'll look at how to apply. I'll probably show you the Chevening Scholarship website and navigate a few pages here and there. And then the most important, and I think really when we reach there, you should concentrate if you're intending to apply, is how do we write our essays very competitively such that you may get selected. At the end, of course, we will do a Q&A. Like Bida put it, if you have any questions or comments that you want us to later respond to, please use the chat box and we will be in touch later. Okay. So what is Chevening Scholarship? There is actually also something called Chevening Fellowship. Now, the difference between the scholarship and the fellowship is that the scholarship is for master's courses in the United Kingdom within the UK. So the 4 UK countries, any university in the UK that is a partner with the Chevening Scholarship, one can study a course there for master's degree. As opposed to the fellowship, which is actually now for people who have master's degrees, so they go and do a fellowship in the UK as well. So the focus of this session is on the Chevening Scholarship. This scholarship is a fully funded, and by that we mean that your flight will be booked by them to the UK and back to your country. They will accommodate you, they give you your tuition, they actually pay to the university, and they give you a stipend for upkeep there. So it's a fully funded UK government scholarship for international students from pretty much all over the world, okay? These people are taken to the UK for a 1-year full-time master's course, as I said, in any UK university that is a partner of Chevening. This scholarship actually was established 40 years ago. I hear some background noise. Aaron, please mute. Aaron Ochora, can you mute? Aaron, please mute. Bida, you could also help mute other people there. Thank you. So this Chevening Scholarship was established in 1983. This year makes it 40 years in existence. And almost about 1,500, 1,400 scholarships are given out every year. It is free. Application is free, so nobody should charge you for dropping an application or tell you that you should pay them to submit your application to Chevening. Over the 40 years, or rather 39 years so far, there are already 55,000 alumni, people who have gone through Chevening Scholarship from over 160 countries and territories across the world. Various courses and universities are available for you to select and maybe be admitted for and study under the Chevening Scholarship. You can always get a lot of that from the Chevening website. The Chevening Secretariat, which is actually a secretariat under the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO, of the UK government, is responsible for the Chevening Scholarship. Previously, until the 31st of last month, it used to be handled by the British Embassy. So in every country which is eligible for Chevening Scholarship, the British Embassy would handle the Chevening Scholarship processes. However, effective from Friday last week, or 1st of September, there has been that change of the secretariat moving to the British Council. So it will no longer be the British Embassy handling the upcoming applications and so on. You can apply as many times as you wish, or until you really get it, the scholarship. There is no limit. Say if you have applied, don't apply again. For this particular year, 2023, I've been informed that reliably that about 1,400 scholarships were offered out from about 70,000 applications all over the world. So that gives us a selection rate of about 2%. Very tight. I must admit, it's very tight. But it does not need to discourage somebody from trying their luck, because I mean, the 2% were also people like you and I, right? So I have heard people ask, what are the chances? No, you shouldn't be asking that question. Even if it was 1% or less than 1% chance, the chance is there and it's for everybody to grab. That's briefly about what Chevening Scholarship is. In terms of eligibility, so when you open the website and you try to read more about the Chevening Scholarship, you'll get a statement like, the scholarship is for outstanding emerging leaders from all over the world. So that is the most important thing. Do you feel yourself that you are an emerging leader? And by leader, we do not mean politicians, members of parliament and stuff like that. You can be a leader in different ways, influencing things and, contributing to societal growth and development. And you can showcase that, yeah, I have been a leader, or I am a leader in this thing. You are the kind of person Chevening would wish to support to study in the UK. Some few eligibility criteria include, you must be a citizen of a Chevening eligible country or territory. These countries are also listed in the website. I think out of 54 countries in Africa, probably there is none which is not eligible. But I did not take time to scan through if all of them are eligible, but most countries are eligible. So you could be one of them. Return to your country of citizenship for a minimum of 2 years after your award has ended in the UK. So they do not allow you to switch from being a Chevening scholar in the UK for 1 year to changing your visa to staying or looking for a job. No. Chevening requires that you return to your country for at least 2 years, and then later, if you want to go and work or live in the UK, you might process your visa for that separately. You should have completed all components of an undergraduate degree that will enable you to gain entry onto a postgraduate program at a UK university by the time you submit your application. So as the advert for this call went out through, some people got privately in touch and they say, oh, I'm finishing this time and that time. I will show you the timeline for this year's application. By the time you're submitting, you should have already gained all these components, because it's the route to you being admitted in a UK university. So your scores typically should be what they describe as an upper second class, 2 to 1. Okay, this is how they grade their degrees in the UK. But just to add perspective to it, if you studied, for example, in Uganda, where the grades are up to 5, for example, an A is 5 points, 2 to 1 is about a CGPA of 4 out of 5. So you should have scored 4 out of 5. cumulative GPA. That's when you can have really, really high chances of being admitted in a UK university. However, I also know that some people who have not particularly got that score, maybe due to the way they have written their applications to the universities or their work experience and so on, they have still gained admission to UK universities without scoring 4 out of 5. But that's the perspective, the relevance. Also, one thing is that you must have at least 2 years or equivalent to 2,800 hours of work experience. I mentioned earlier when I was explaining the people who applied. Daniel, please mute. Thank you. Right, so I mentioned this earlier when I was talking about the people who applied. The 2 years experience is really important for Chevening. These criteria, by the way, are the first things they use for screening which applications go to the next stage. By the time you have not met 2,800 hours in your application, then automatically this application will not progress to the next level. And lastly, you should apply to 3 different eligible UK university courses. Again, the university courses that Chevening supports are available on their website. So you need to scan through and understand which course might be supported. UK university courses that are eligible, 3 of them. And you must have an unconditional offer for admission or for studies from one of these choices by the deadline listed on the application timeline. We will discuss this when we talk about the timeline. However, I want to say this and maybe make it clear that the 3 university courses are either 3 different university courses in the same university that you want to go to. Let's say your interest is only University of Oxford. So you are thinking of 3 different master's courses within Oxford University that you are applying to. So you apply to this one, that one, 3 of them, and then you will put those in the Chevening application that these are my courses ranked by order of first, second, third course you want to study, right? So that is one option. 3 different courses, 1 university. The other option is if, for example, you really want to do maybe molecular biology, or you want to do health policy planning and financing, that is the course you want to do. You don't want to bother yourself with the other courses, then you can choose that same course in 3 different universities. So that's what they mean by 3 different eligible UK university courses. So that is really important also because it might help you later in how you write your essays. Okay. Application timeline for this upcoming year 2024-25. It will start on September 12th. That's when the portal will open, so applications will be received. But you need to start your preparations early. Those of you who want to really apply and you have joined this call, this is one of the preparatory steps you have taken, and it's very, very encouraged. You need to start your preparations early. By the time 12th of September comes in, you should be already starting your application. The good thing is the application can be saved and then you come back to it another time and so on and so forth. So you can keep filling in sections that do not need you to maybe do a lot of researching or writing and so on. And then you keep building your application immediately when the window opens. So 12th of September up to the 8th of November. 8th of November will be the deadline day. No more applications after that. Then from mid of November to December, the whole of December this year, the applications will be sifted against eligibility. And I said this earlier, sifted means they will be sieved, they will be filtered, which ones have met the eligibility criteria. And of course, the eligibility criteria, I went through them. So they will be doing that beginning from the middle of November to the whole of December. And then those that have met the eligibility criteria will be given to people who read them. Readers, they will then assess the eligible applications, they score them, they rank them. You know, for example, in a country, maybe 1,000 people applied, and maybe that country only, Chevening will only offer 15 scholarships. So they will first check which ones are eligible. Among the eligible now, those people who read will read them, assess them, score them, and rank. Okay, and then the ranked applications are now passed back to the local British embassy. But from next year, it will be the local British Council, as I mentioned. So it will be the British Council processing the applications. So what the readers have ranked are sent back to the respective countries for the British Council staff there to further read through and now do a shortlisting. Okay, so by early to mid of February 2024, the local British Council will be doing the shortlisting and writing, sending out interview invitations for those who have been able to make it to that far. Okay, within that time, if you receive that email that says you have been invited for Chevening interviews, then you will be required to upload your academic documents and reference documents. 2 references are usually required. It does not mean you must wait for February, for example, for the academic documents. If you already have them, you can actually upload them anytime, but you don't need to upload them before you submit the application. Okay, you can submit it without these 2 documents, the academic documents and the references. However, if you make it to the interview stage, February, you must make sure you upload them in the portal. This, I think, will be the most important thing for this session today, because when you go to interview stage now, which usually begins late April, February, some countries in March, up to late April, interview stage, that will be a very different preparatory process for you. But of course, you will attend your interview if you make it up to there, and then again wait for another nearly 6 weeks to 8 weeks, depending on when you do your interviews, until early June. So early June, interview results will be out. Those who will have been selected will be sent a document called conditional award letter. Now, this award letter has conditions that you must fulfill. One important condition is getting that unconditional offer of admission in a university to study a course. Once you get that unconditional offer, it is one of the conditions in the CAL, and then you send it to them. Deadline for unconditional offers for next year will be July the 11th. So whoever has received unconditional offer and has passed through the interviews, has received the CAL, submit it by 11th of July next year. And then after you submit, they will now convert the CAL to what is called final award letter, or FAL. Final award letter now details your study stipend and stuff like that that you will receive. So once you get that within July, hopefully, from mid-July to early September, you should be receiving what they call confirmation of acceptance for studies, or CAS. Once you get that, you now be doing your TB test. Most of the countries, I think all African countries, students will be required to take a TB test, which is a chest X-ray. So you take it, and then you can now apply for visa when you have your CAS and a TB negative chest X-ray, for example, certificate. So you now apply for your visa. When the visa comes, you book your flight, and hopefully by September next year to October, you will be flying to the UK to start your studies. So this is basically the cycle and the timelines you might need to put in mind. Yes, like I said, this was my second time applying, and then I got it. And you too can actually get it. You need to just believe in yourself. Now, what do you expect the application form to look like? The application form for this scholarship has 5 main parts. You will have the first part, which is mostly information about you, personal details, contact details, your education, your work experience. And as you complete the work experience, particularly, for example, it will be calculating the hours automatically. For example, you say you are employed from January to September, you work on a 40-hour week, okay, of work, and then they will calculate how many weeks there, how many hours they will calculate automatically. And that's how they will be able to begin filtering who has met the criterion for work experience and who has not. So those are part 1. Part 2 is the most interesting and probably the most valuable part of your application that you must really put effort in, and that's the essays. There are 4 essay questions. And we will go through with the examples of how you should write each of those 4 in this session, hopefully. So the first will be an essay about leadership and influence. You need to demonstrate clearly there. How do you convince them that you have been a leader, you are a leader, or you will be a leader? Remember, we said that Chevening Scholarship is for emerging leaders across the world. So you need to demonstrate that in that essay called Leadership and Influence. The second essay will be relationship building and shared learning. How are you able to make use of relationships, especially professional relationships, and learning together? How are you able to do that? You demonstrate in an essay. The third will be about studying in the UK. What do you expect? What do you foresee will be your study life in the UK? And you will have to talk a lot of things. I will tell you some of them. And the last essay will be about your career plan. Chevening wants to support people who are focused, who have a direction. Your career plan needs to come out very clean and clear so that they can know, oh, if we support this one, 5 years, 10 years down the road, there will be somebody different and the world probably will be better because of them. Then the third part of the application is application information. Now you put your university application details, which university, which course, which one is your first, second, third, and so on. A few questions will be asked about immigration. And then part 4 is terms and conditions, which are really your agreement with Chevening that if you give me this scholarship, during my award while I'm in the UK, I agree to these things. And after my award, I also agree to these things. So terms and conditions there. And then the last part is uploading documents and you submit. Okay. So they will also ask you a few questions, just are more of survey, like where did you hear about Chevening? And then you provide your referee names. There are also 2 persons. And then finally you will submit. And then you can also complete a feedback on the application process. For this session, we will focus on the second part of the application, the essays. Now, how do you apply for Chevening Scholarship? Ladies and gentlemen, you need to dedicate time. You need to put time and effort. Okay, it is not easy, as you saw in the application timeline. Something starts in September, you will go maybe the next year, September. Okay, so it's more or less 10 months or 8 to 10 months of putting effort. So you need to, 1, read the Chevening website. There is a lot you will learn. First, understand the Chevening Scholarship from their website. We talked about eligibility here. In the website, you will find application guidance. A lot of sections there that will be very helpful for you in that in trying to put up a very competitive application. So read it. How to find a course. Remember, we said those are courses that are eligible in the UK. Not all courses will be eligible for Chevening Scholarship. So it's also on the website. Look at the courses. Is the course that you want to study one of them? Is it eligible? If not, look for others that are eligible and you choose. Why you want to study in the UK, they also give you some, expected outcomes or benefits of your study in the UK. There will always be FAQs. Those are frequently asked questions and some answers. It's still there in the website. And there's a lot more in the website that you can get. So first thing, read, understand what is in the website. Second thing, decide which course, which university you want to go and study. Or if you want to choose 3 different universities for the same course, which ones are those? Okay. Of course, begin as early as now to look at who can provide you a very competitive reference letter. Sometimes people make mistakes even in looking for jobs. You put your referees, people who are, maybe they don't know you so well, maybe they actually don't have that interest to support you get something and so on. So it's time now, if you want to apply, to start screening who can be your referee. Okay, and then you inform them early, you know what, I'm working on this application. Please, I will need your reference later in the process. Of course, there's also a guidance on how a reference letter should be written. So you can also share with them that. Prepare your academic documents, your CV, and so on and so forth, especially for university applications, your course that you want to do. All these should be ready because most universities actually will require a CV and other details of you while applying for the course. This is very, very important, this first thing of homework, doing it early. Then start your online application. I'll show you on the website, but countries tend to have specific URLs or links. Uganda, South Sudan, Kenya, and so on, depending on which country you're applying from, you will go to that specific country's link, and then you start your application from there. You write your essays in time, very important. And really, really more important is other people should review. Do not think you are this one who speaks this very excellent English, or you've been passing English language with the all distinctions, and now you can write and you're done. No. Sometimes the technique of writing, the wording, somebody going through your work will always find something to improve. So let other people review. They could be professional colleagues, Chevening alumni, maybe language experts, they need to read and give you feedback. Revise your application, essays, again and again. Before you really submit, be sure. And I can tell you from experience, when I first submitted my first application in 2021, I did it in a rush, and I only had one person who reviewed my essays. The person gave me very positive feedback. That person is a Chevening alumnus. And then I was confident, and then I dropped. I mean, the whole thing, the rest of it is history. But in the second time that I tried and I'm here talking to you, I had to make sure I did this again and again. Like I said, do something small in the application, save it, come back another time, start a fresh review. You will always find things to improve until you are really now sure that, yes, this is time to submit, hit the submit button. Because once you submit, you cannot edit anything else. You will only later come and upload documents and stuff like that, okay? So revise it again and again. Make sure you are submitting what you now believe is good enough. Aim to submit a week to the deadline. This is important because usually towards the deadline of these online applications, systems can get congested and you don't want your application not to reach before the deadline. So usually a week before the deadline should be good time to submit, and then you wait for the outcome. Of course, as you have completed your submission, the next thing you should now be working on is applying to the universities. First, make sure you apply to all the 3 universities or the 3 courses you mentioned in the application. But that does not stop you from applying to other universities, okay? Especially if it is similar course that you mentioned in the application. Because when you go to interview stage, they usually will ask you to confirm again which course, which university you really want to go to. So that might be an opportunity for you to be flexible. Like myself, my 3 universities I put in order were Imperial College London, University College London, and then University of Oxford. Of course, I aimed very high for those top universities. So the first 2 did not give me an offer. University College London gave me an offer for the course I wanted to do. But because I also went on to apply to others, I got offers from London School of Hygiene that I'm now finally going to, and then University of Bristol, right? So during interview stage, because actually I did the interview before UCL or University College London could give me the offer. So I told them, guys, I'm still waiting for feedback from these people in UCL, but for now I already have an offer from London School of Hygiene. So let's start with this that I already have at hand. And here I am. So do not think you want to restrict yourself to those 3 universities or the courses. You can always make sure you have a backup. Okay, before we come to the next thing, which is talking about the essays, I'd like to briefly take you to the website and show you a few things, okay? Show you a few things. Right, so this is the Chevening Scholarship website, or rather the Chevening website. You have a lot of buttons, a lot of things to look at, but you will be interested in the scholarships. Of course, the fellowships are here. I mentioned about it. If you already have a master's degree and you want to try a fellowship, maybe you will benefit from this. I will not have much guidance on you, to you on that. Scholarships, you come here who can apply, application timeline, guidance is what I talked about. You can find a course here. They talk about why you want to study there, and the frequently asked questions. This is where you want to concentrate as somebody trying to submit an application. The other links, this is for alumni, people who already have graduated from the UK. This is for current Cheveners, people who are currently studying or going to start their studies. They have different information for them. But let's say that you've come here, you've looked at the website, and you have explored, okay? You have read all these things, you really have understood. Now it's time to apply, okay? So you will come and click the apply button, and then you see. So find awards in your country or territory. So the awards here, we mean the scholarship or fellowship. Some countries don't have the fellowship, but they have the scholarship. Other countries can have both. So you need to know what award are you applying for, and which country is it eligible for that award or not. For example, if I select here Kenya, right? So the country is Kenya. Maybe I'm applying for Chevening Scholarship, not fellowship. So, and then I will search for that. Let's see what they bring. Okay, so this is the Kenyan page. Okay, so Chevening in Kenya. And it tells you clearly applications are still closed until the 12th of September. Okay, but if they were already open, by the time you have come there, you should be able to see the apply button, and then you now follow from there. The guidance is still there, references, interviews, especially if you make it to the interview stage, you can still come back to this website and read a lot of guidance on how to perform better in the interview stage. FAQs are there, okay? Timeline, if you like, required documents, a lot of information. So this is how you will now find the application when it opens on the 12th of September, and then you follow the fields that are required and you fill them in. Okay, so briefly, that is in the website. A lot more will appear on this page, for example, when the application window opens. Okay, so you just select the country and the award, and then you search. It will take you there. So you see even Afghanistan is already here, scholarship, Albania scholarship, and so on. So almost every country, not almost, all countries that are eligible for Chevening Scholarship are on the website. So you just go to that specific country and you are there. If your country is not appearing on the first pages, maybe due to alphabet, you can search from here. So that's briefly the website. Let's go back to our presentation. Now, having shown you how that works, let's now put more effort in the essays. How do you really ace it? The essays, each of them, therefore I said, each of them must be not more than 500 words. That means you do not have liberty to speak a lot of volume of words without sense, okay? Sometimes people, for example, if you are talking about leadership and influence, and then you start defining what leadership is, maybe influence is this and that, that's unnecessary. You don't have the words in this world to write too many things. So it will be very helpful for you to make a very brief introduction, especially of what are you talking about that is your experience in leadership or influence that you want Chevening to know as an example. Then you just go introduce in such a place, such a time, or this year, that year, I did this, or this is what happened. Okay, go straight to the point. You don't have enough time. Quotes like quoting Mandela, Nelson Mandela, and other people may be not really a good idea. So don't waste time with that. For the essays, at least the first two essays, there's what they call the STAR method. And it is particularly very applicable to these first two essays, the leadership and influence, and then the relationship and the shared learning essays. STAR stands for situation. So you should describe your experience regarding a certain situation, a problem, or a challenge that was there, maybe in the community you lived in, and you identified it as a situation that needed something to be done about. So then the T is the task. What task was there to be performed, maybe to resolve that situation? And then you now, what action did you take? What action did you take? So if you took that action and it was the right action, what result came out? Was the situation resolved? Was it completely undone, or did it continue to stay, or did it reduce a little bit? So results have to appear. And where it is possible, quantify. You can quantify the situation. For example, let's say maybe there was a cholera outbreak, and maybe there are like 20 children who have died in 1 week, and then you thought of doing something. Okay, so you did something like this was the action you took, and maybe the next week 0 child died. Okay, so that is quantifying both situation and results. So the STAR method is very applicable and very, very important, especially when writing those first 2 essays. Make sure as you give examples of your leadership or influence skills, you are using the STAR method. It actually helps you to write less words, but hitting the point. Try to give at least 3 to 4 examples of your relevant experience in that format called the STAR method. Be straight to the point, clear, okay? And remember, you can write more with less. I mean, there are some of us who can talk a lot of things, and you will filter only a few cents in it. That's not necessary in this application essays. You must write specific things to the point clearly, and then you will be able to write more examples, okay? In the studying in the UK essay, all right, you need to show how well you have researched your course, university of choice. So you need to speak to them. Really, I want to go and study Master of Science in this course, okay? I want to study it in University of Birmingham, for example. Why there is because I know there is a lecturer there called so-and-so. You need to quote some faculty, some lecturers, and say this lecturer's experience and work research that they have done has motivated you to go and study there, for example. So you need to research your course and the university very well. You should be able to, in this essay, mention faculty names and maybe what they have done. They have published this and that. You need to also speak to the course you have chosen, the modules, okay, what interests you about them. Yes, publications from the university or from a specific lecturer that has interested you or has caused an impact in the world. And you want to speak to the life in the UK, the quality of education, the culture, and generally life in UK. So these are the points you need to bring out clearly within 500 words. Okay. Then the last essay, which is the career plan essay, signposting language is very important. Signposting means you are speaking either in terms of sequence of time. First, I will do this, and then second, I will do that, and so on. It's very good to begin with that kind of language because you are giving Chevening an understanding of what is your career going to be after your master's in the UK. So whatever you're describing as your career goals must be SMART. And for those who might not know, SMART stands for specific. The goal is specific. If the goal is to become a lecturer, okay, at, for example, Makerere University, just specify that I want to become a lecturer for this course in Makerere University after I graduate from the UK, and you want to measure it, okay? The goal must be measurable. I will be teaching 50 students every year, for example. Achievable, attainable. Can you actually become a lecturer after your master's course? Of course, it's possible. So that is something achievable, right? Realistic. How easy or how possible that you will become a lecturer in the university you're talking about? And specify. Is it immediately you come back from the UK the first 1 year, or you will first, be around here and there, and then you will start to teach in the university at a certain time? So all your goals, career goals, must be SMART. And they should be explaining what you will do after coming back from the UK. So we will talk more again in each specific essay, but this is basically the summary of what you should write your essay like. Now, let's go to the first essay then. And this was the question as it was asked in the last year's application. Chevening is looking for individuals who will be future leaders or influencers in their home countries. Explain how you meet this requirement using clear examples of your own leadership and influencing skills to support your answer. Minimum count of words is 100, maximum 500. Really, if you want to write only 150 words, you might not really make it, right? Because like I said earlier, you should aim at giving at least 3, if possible, 4 different examples of things that demonstrate that you are a leader, or you have been a leader, or you will be a leader. Preferably you have been and you are a leader, right? So those examples need to come out clearly. Remember, the keywords in this question are future leaders or influencers in your home countries. So give examples, write those examples that demonstrate that, hey, this person has really been a leader and is a good leader, or can use certain influencing skills to turn situations around, and therefore is worth supporting and maybe becoming a partner of Chevening or the UK government. How? The next point is explain how. How do you meet that requirement of being a leader or an influencer? How do you meet it? You need to bring out that you have these skills, 1, 2, 3, mention them and say, with these skills, I will achieve this, or I have achieved this leadership or influencing experience using my skills, this. This is the how. Of course, the word limit is there. The STAR method, I mentioned it in the last slide, and still, please, as much as possible, make sure you quantify results of your achievements. In fact, when I look back at some of my examples in the essays I wrote, I now feel like I could have done better in actually quantifying certain things that maybe I did not quantify. So usually when you quantify things, it becomes easier to measure your impact. Okay? For example, here, this is an introduction of the essay. Somebody worked during the COVID in 2020 in some facility. This is not the STAR method yet, but what situation was there, okay? So you find that this is the first part of the situation. For 2 days in July that year, maybe community conflict, okay? Heightened tensions that led to confinement of relocatable staff. And then what happened from that situation? Medical services were paralyzed. So you see, that's a situation. So what was the task at hand? Of course, if there is tension between communities, something has to be done to do with the security, right? So maybe the task was engaging security officer and then project manager and so on in the location. What action did the person take? Or what action was later taken with that? And then, so the meeting was held and then stakeholders resolved. So stakeholders, including those communities that were in tension, resolved to involve other stakeholders to bring peace. And what was the result? The host community leaders and of the refugee communities and so on sat in a round table to end the conflict, and then normal medical services resumed, okay? So you see that a situation was described, the task that was to be undertaken, the action taken, and the result, okay? It is also very good that you conclude your examples in the essays with something either you learned, because Chevening is not about you helping community alone. They also want to know that what you do, even if it is impacting community, it is also impacting you as an individual. For example, this conclusion that I learned that taking a step as a leader in times of difficulties and involving stakeholders brings success. So you see that there's something this person has learned from the example they have given. And this really will be able to help somebody to rate this essay strongly because it has described the situation, okay, followed the STAR method, and somebody has concluded that they have learned something. The other option would be also to mention the skills used to achieve the results, if any. The second example of somebody's achievement in the leadership and influence, okay? So what was the situation? Somebody worked somewhere in parts of South Sudan, and they had a situation where there were 7 field officers in the region with the one supervisor who was based in the capital city, Juba. So it means not a lot of support from the supervisor to each of the 7 colleagues, right? And therefore, you could think of a situation where maybe people who are not very competent enough, needing support from supervisor is only remotely available. So that became a situation. So to improve performances, WhatsApp group was created for interaction with the colleagues, sharing experiences and providing peer mentorship, okay, to each other. This became something like a task. And then actions. So the interactions led to monthly meetings on Zoom, sharing experience, taking notes during the meetings, and then sharing with the supervisor who appreciated all that. And then through also that mobilization, another action was taken. So they resumed state technical working group monthly meetings, and this strengthened the state ministry supervision of the program they were working in. That was actions taken, about 2 actions there. So what was the result? 5% state program growth through stronger facility, staff mentorship, and supervision of implementing partner. So this is how you quantify your result. 5% may look small, but definitely statistically it is significant. Okay, so this is another example of how they showed leadership and influencing around the ministry, around colleagues, around supervisor, and so on. So again, just a small introductory part, describe the situation at hand, the task, action, and then the result, okay? So those are 2 examples regarding the leadership and influence essay. For the relationship building and shared learning essay, again, the STAR method applies. So let's read what the question says. That Chevening is looking for individuals with strong professional relationship building skills who will engage with the Chevening community and influence and lead others in their chosen profession. Please explain how you build and maintain relationships in a professional capacity, using clear examples of how you currently do this and outline how you hope to use these skills in the future. The word limits are the same. Let's unpack this question. What are they looking for? Strong professional relationship building skills. The essay you will put to respond to this question must demonstrate that as a professional that you are, okay, you have strong relationship building skills with your colleagues in the profession and even maybe across, because professions will always intermeet, cross from one side to the other in terms of providing services. So you need to demonstrate that in the essay. How do you engage and influence? Okay, engage community and influence and lead others needs to come out from your essay clearly. Remember, I said Chevening alumni community is over 55,000 people across the world. Once you graduate as a Chevening scholar, you already are part of that huge number of alumni. Can you demonstrate in your essay that you will benefit from being part of that community, or you will help that community to benefit from you? Those are the things. It is two-way. Either you benefit or community benefits from you through influencing, through relationship building and networking. Okay. Sometimes they call this essay actually the networking essay. How you build and maintain relationships in a professional capacity. Also, this one needs to be demonstrated in your essay. Must come out clearly. I do this, or I have done this, and this is what this is how I did it, and result came like this. The how bit of it needs to come out. Of course, clear examples of how you currently do this, especially at your workplace. How do you do this kind of relationship building and networking that helps you succeed, or the team that you work with? And then how you hope to use these skills in the future is very important, of course. It might be helpful also going towards the career plan essay. But this one is still about networking. How do you plan now that you will go to UK for 1 year, become academically better than you are now? How will you now use these skills? How will they impact you or the community, or even Chevening community? So an example is given here. Somebody was in a certain district hospital. This is in Uganda. And then the situation was what? Lack of glucometer on the wards. So for those who are not maybe of medical background, glucometer is just an instrument used for measuring blood sugar or blood glucose. So they were not there on the wards, and it became a challenge to provide care for emergency patients. People who come unconscious, usually they need to be checked for blood sugar levels. Sometimes too low sugar or too high sugar can cause loss of consciousness. And then those, of course, who have diabetes, they also always will need to be checked their sugars. So this was the situation at hand. The task was, because this person belonged to a certain club at university level, so the task was now to mobilize those club members who are with this person to raise funds from the local community and even local leaders, including district commissioner, resident district commissioner, to buy glucometers to be put on the wards along with some strips for checking. This was the task. So what action was done? They actually carried out that mobilization, and they bought the glucometers, and 4 of them, each ward, medical ward, surgical ward, pediatric and maternity wards, each of them had one glucometer with a number of strips for checking blood sugar. Okay, and therefore the result became what? So this is a personal result, for example. Yes, the glucometers being delivered on the ward is also another result itself, but this person decided to quote a personal result outcome, that they were awarded distinguished service award. So that's a kind of a prize that somebody has really distinguished service. They have done a distinguished service in terms of networking with the people to cause positive change. So again, the STAR method works. You see here the networking with the club members, influencing around there, okay, and then going into the community, influencing local leaders, to create the relationship to cause a change, a positive change. Again, that comes out there clearly. A second example on the relationship and shared learning essay, or the networking essay, is here about Juba Teaching Hospital. So somebody has been working and supporting that hospital, the service of HIV. And the situation was that last year, September, government staff went on strike because they were not paid incentive that was being given by a different partner, okay? And so they had to think of something to do. The next month, October, they decided to escalate the matter to the organization they work with and the Directorate for HIV, TB, Hepatitis, and STIs at the Ministry of Health. So that was their task, to really cause something to happen, okay? So the action was through the director at the ministry, a meeting was organized between the different partners, and then the staff were sat down, they were clearly explained to the issues of the incentives and so on and so forth, how the changes came about and why the incentive was no longer being paid. And what was the result? The staff understood the matter and resumed offering the services they were offering, okay? So you see again, the STAR method has come in, involving other people, stakeholders as part of networking has come in, including professionals within the workplace, at the hospital, at the Ministry of Health, and then a matter has been resolved. So again, how do you benefit from people around you, professionals around you, or network that you can use to cause change? That is second example on the networking essay. The third essay, which is studying in the UK, the question reads, outline why you have selected your chosen 3 university courses and explain how this relates to your previous academic or professional experience and your plans for the future. Please enter new information and examples here and not duplicate the information you have entered on the work experience and education section of this form. So they have warned you clearly. They need more different examples, new information. Okay. Of course, in your work experience, you will be mentioning things. I work as this kind of person. These are the responsibilities I perform, and so on and so forth. Some of them might be looking like you want to bring them in, but this is not what they want. So let's unpack the question. First thing is, why have you chosen those 3 courses? Like I said, either there are 3 different courses within one university, or the same or similar course across 3 different universities. But why that course or courses? You need to bring it out in terms of, for example, if you choose MPH, Master of Public Health in Development, why? What are you looking at that if you get that degree, master's degree, you will now do better, okay, with that degree? So you must justify your choice of the university course or courses. Your relationship with the previous, okay, the relationship of that course to your previous academic or professional experience. Is it in line with what you actually are doing now? How are they related? Okay. Or your professional experience previously, is it in line with this course that you have chosen or courses? And what is the university courses relationship with your future plans? If you are maybe currently working as a teacher and now you want to do Master of Public Health in Development, let me say, how is it related to maybe your current work or experience as a teacher and your plans? Maybe you want to leave classroom teaching and actually get more involved in development activities, projects, and stuff like that, more in the public health setup than in the classroom. So you could come out very clear from there and really put it in the essay strongly that this is what you need to do, okay? Of course, the warning, please, it must be a new information that you're providing here. Even examples need to be very new as much as possible. Personally, I have these tips for you. Like I said already, consider the same or similar course in 3 different universities. This makes your studying in the UK easier to write because you must justify the course. And if you have 3 different courses within the same university, you have to really try to justify each, okay? But if you have similar course that you are choosing into 3 different universities, you have already justified the course once, it's similar or the same actually. And then now what you need to mention more is what is in which university that you want to go to. Okay, so this might be very helpful for you. And also choosing one course or similar course that is similar or the same actually across 3 universities helps you also in the career plan essay, because it shows you really want to focus somewhere, and it will not be difficult for you to write your career plan essay in relation to your course that you will do. So again, for the universities, you need to mention faculty there, course modules, publications, what is the level of alumni networking you will get from that university, okay, and how you think it will help you. What is the employability of graduates of that university? Sometimes university websites have this information, by the way. They will tell you, oh, graduates of this course, they work with the UN, they work with the WHO, they work with this and that, you know. So that is employability that you might want to also mention. And many other things you can actually get from the university course-specific websites. Tie all these things to your experience, to your future plans. I already have this much experience. Studying this course elevates me to this level. And when I reach this level, this is what is going to be my achievement. You know, that's how you should be describing this, right? So if you put 3 different universities, make sure you are describing a little more details on the first choice, and then you can begin to reduce on the second. The third choice, you might not want to really write so much about it because of word limits. You don't want to write too many things about each university and you surpass the 500 word limit. Don't forget, in this essay, you should say some things, some nice things about studying in the UK. For example, the quality of education you get there as compared to other countries. You know, what do you think? What have you read? What have you known about it? That maybe UK universities are ranked top 10 or top 20 in the world and stuff like that. These are things they will feel good about as they read that, oh, you have researched and you really know. Where it is possible, please quantify the benefits of studying in the UK. Things like the alumni network, maybe things like events that you will enjoy, and all these things in the UK you can mention maybe 3 times in a year. You can do this and that, you know. So those are my tips on this essay. As an example, for example, here somebody is talking about Imperial College London, and they are mentioning renowned researchers Dr. Amanda, Dr. Philippos. These are people who are actually lecturers in the course they have chosen in Imperial College. So they have mentioned them. What have these people done? Dr. Amanda has done research on cancer epidemiology. Dr. Philippos has done work in social and economic determinants of health. And this person is relating this kind of experience to their country and how they will benefit to impact on their country. Okay. They went on to mention the modules, the courses. There are others which are optional. So they talked about outbreaks and emerging and neglected tropical diseases. Okay. Will be really also what handy, and the knowledge and skills gained from those courses will help them to develop their career back home in their country. Okay. So the learning methods are also other things you want to mention. How the training or the teaching is done in the specific university or the specific course. Is it by lectures? Is it by tutorials? How do you find those methods interesting and helpful to you in terms of learning? You might want to highlight that, as a way of justifying the course or the university over the others that you did not choose. Okay, so that will help. Yeah, so briefly, just as an example, these are some of the things you need to highlight and bring out in your essay that show to you, or rather to the person reading your application, that you have done your research, you have understood what it means to study in the UK in such a university or this kind of course. The second example related to that is, so you see now, this is more of a summary kind of, so the third university, University of Oxford, again, they have mentioned faculty and the work they have done. Dr. Jane, who has done a lot of, is a professor of clinical trials and epidemiology, and alongside another Dr. Colin, who is well known for studies on renal diseases. It shows you have really understood what you are going to study, right? And then a conclusive statement like this will really be very nice. So you are graduating from very top universities in the world, and you believe it will guarantee you ability to contribute to improving and safeguarding health. Okay, of course, the Chevening activities are many, while in the UK and the university also has co-curricular activities. You believe they will help you to learn different cultures, expand your networks, and enable you to build a pool of expertise that will contribute. So you tie it up and say, there is a lot more benefit from studying in the UK. Okay, so that would be that. The last essay, career plan. Chevening is looking for individuals who have a clear post-study career plan. Please outline your immediate plans upon returning home and your longer-term career goals. You may wish to consider how these relate to what the UK government is doing in your country. So, unpacking this question, clear post-study career plan. Clear, the English itself here is also clear. Your career plan must be clear. Should not be beating around the bush, not helpful, not very specific, like somebody will not know exactly how you will even achieve what you are saying you want to achieve. So it should be very clear, okay? Immediate career goals. The Americans have a saying that low-hanging fruits. These are the things you can easily achieve or start with or do, immediate things. So what are your immediate career goals? Is it to come back to your workplace where you are currently working and continue your employment? Is it to come and open a business? Is it to come and do what as soon as you're back? So describe those things. Again, let them be smart, specific, measurable, things you know you can achieve. They are realistic and time-bound. You should state in the first 6 months, in the first 1 year, in the first 2 years. These are more or less immediate career plans. And then the mid to long-term career goals, also you need to bring them out clearly, maybe 3 to 5 years or 5 to, 10 years. If you consider that mid or long-term, it depends. But you can also mention that from this thing that I will do when I come back, I will build to the next thing and to the next thing, clearly stating what the goal is, whether it is measurable, achievable, time-bound, things like that. This point is important. Relationship with the UK government activities in your country. They will be very happy if you are able to mention about what the UK government is doing in your country. What are the activities? What are the programs the UK government is funding, for example, or supporting in your country? Is it girl child education? Is it primary healthcare? Is it what? And how do you believe coming back to your country will help you contribute to achievement of those activities, or partnering with the UK government to implement those activities or things like that? If you are able to highlight some things related to that, well and good in your career plan. Of course, definitely how you plan, how you will put the knowledge and skills or the experience you gain in the UK to use also needs to come out here somehow clearly. Oh, currently, I am not able to conduct a research because I don't know how to write a research proposal. However, when I do this 1-year master's course in the UK, I will be equipped with the skills and knowledge to open a research firm, for example, and within 5 years, we would have published this kind of. So measurability, what you want to do, how can it be quantified, so that by the time the timeline you have given yourself is ending, we should be able to come and audit you and say, yes, so you said 5 years time you should have published 100 articles. How many have you published? And then you say, hey, you know what, I published 90. So a 90% success rate. So how will you put the knowledge and skills into use and the experience in your career plan? Those that you will learn from the UK. As you write your career plan, if there are activities you think of that you want to do to cause positive impact in your community, try to think if they're related to sustainable development goals. If yes, try to mention which sustainable development goal do you intend to contribute to in implementing what you want to implement, those goals that you are setting up, okay? Point on your essay regarding that. Consistency here to me is all the other 3 essays now to this one. Somebody reading your application should really be visualizing you, okay, growing and your career relating to whatever you've said, including from the study in the UK essay to the career plan, what course and how it impacts you and so on. So there should really come out consistency across these essays that you demonstrate in the career plan essay. Of course, SMART, I've talked about it severally. Let's look at this example. So upon return to this country, that means this is short term. So immediate things. This person will serve in the Ministry of Health, Directorate of Policy Planning, Budget and Research. What is the goal there? Within 6 months to strengthen the directorate through what? Updating policies, tools on research and so on, and then doing on-site mentorship on studies, okay? This is immediately within the first 6 months as they work there, right? So this is something specific. It actually fits the SMART criteria, okay? And then, so after achieving that 6 months goal, they will now use their prestigious Chevening alumni stack and other professional networks created to collaborate with the large international health initiatives and leverage their expertise, finances, and logistical outreach to extend health services and awareness to hard to reach parts of the country. Okay, so this is still more or less part of short term. 3 to 5 years, which is more of midterm, they will join research colleagues, contribute the knowledge and expertise to building a formidable research institution. So 5 years maximum, a research institution should be formed, and then the institution will provide what? Excellent and affordable research training for interested local researchers and contribute to filling information gap on communicable and non-communicable diseases. So 5 years, we will say, is this institution established? Is it already training people? How many are they training and stuff like that? Okay. So you see that few years, something they are doing, and then 3 to 5 years, they are also adding in another thing. And long-term, 10 years, this same institute, the training will now own a teaching hospital, provide excellent and cost-effective health services, okay, and also internships, okay. And then the same time, 10 years, they should have returned to work with the government to continue mentorship and influence now what? Policy making for vulnerable populations, okay. See the conclusion, therefore, the post-study career plan prioritizes evidence-informed policy making through research and human resources for health development in the country. Through this plan and continuous partnership with the Chevening alumni and other networks, I hope to improve public health outlook in South Sudan. So this is some similar approach that you are consistently demonstrating where you want to be and what you want to achieve. And somebody reading those essays will be like, oh, so this person knows they will study this course, they will gain this kind of skills, then they will use these skills with the other networks around to do 1, 2, 3 things. And by this number of years, somebody is already somewhere. Those are the 4 essays. General tips, please, if you are trying to apply, be original, write things that are your own experiences, especially. Do not try to copy somebody's work here and there and you put as yours. That's plagiarism. And all these applications will be always cross-checked against plagiarism. So do not try. Give the application its due diligence. I mentioned this earlier. A lot of homework needs to be done. Read again and again. Please do not allow any room for errors. Okay. First, research widely before applying. I will not overemphasize this because I've mentioned it severally. When you do your research well and you write your essays very well, your application very well, they demonstrate to your reader that you have understood what you really are up to. Okay. Select 3 different courses from one university, that is the criterion, or the same or similar course in 3 different universities. And I recommend this one particularly, that you either selecting one course in 3 different universities, or they can be similar. Really, they will help. If I was reading your application, I'll be like, yeah, this person is focused. They know already what they want to become. Stick to the word counts. This is obvious. Use as different examples as possible. Do not try to repeat examples here and there or refer to another, say as said above or as mentioned in this essay. No. Apply to as many universities courses to improve chances of offer of admission as possible. I mentioned this earlier. You will always have a chance to switch if you reach that stage. Please watch YouTube videos. This is another thing that I really helped myself with last time out. It will be very helpful for you to watch. There are people who record 15 minutes videos on one specific essay, and then maybe another 10, 15 minutes on another one. They will also give you different tips here and there. At the end of the day, you should choose what information you want to really use to write your application. There is something called the 5 Ps, and I want you all to remember if you are planning to apply. Proper planning prevents poor performance. So the 5 Ps. Proper planning prevents poor performance. That is up to you. I have tried to get some of the links that I believe are very important for you. The FAQs, the details of the scholarship, Chevening Scholarship, the eligibility criteria, how you can apply, reference guide to the referees. Also, I looked online and found a report for 2022. If you want, you can read it and maybe understand more about the Chevening Scholarship. And importantly, there's that link about common application errors. Common application errors. Please try to read what are the common errors people make. Okay. From my first application experience, I had to read this and then I realized, oh, I think this was the problem, because I did not believe that I did not progress to interview stage. Like I told you, I was quite confident the first time I attempted. So do not try to be overconfident. Always try to check and read widely. My offer for anybody who is planning to apply is to review up to 20 essays or applicants' essays. So write all your 4 essays. If you want me to review them, I will only give chance to the first 20 to send me their essays, because I think when I start my studies, I might not be having much time, and then soon enough the deadline will come and the applications are closed. So I want to take a number that I believe I can maybe provide adequate feedback to. So the first 20 people to send me full 4 essays that they have written, I'll give my time to read through and maybe give them feedback. Please send via my email that is here in the chat box, and then we will talk more about how to improve the essays you will send. Okay. So that's my email for those who are going to try to send me their applications, or rather the essays. Thank you all so much for listening. We have really talked a lot of information, but I think we now have about 35 minutes to interact, Q&A. Before that, if there's any Chevening scholar in the call and they would like to make additions or comments, they are welcome. And then we will take questions from the audience. If you are a Chevening scholar, please. Mr. Abui, are you? Let me see if I can find one that I know.
Yeah, no, I'm not, but I just want to ask a question.
So you will wait. Just hold on. I want somebody who has gone through Chevening Scholarship to first make comments. If there is anyone in the call now, I'm trying to look at somebody that I might know. Okay, there was one person who actually helped me out last year. He had promised to join, but I don't see him. Please, Sharif, mute. Bida, are you in the call?
Yeah, I'm here. What is the name of the person? Maybe I can just look through.
I'm actually looking through. He's called Lubajo Robert. He had promised to attend, but I can't see him online. If there's nobody who has gone through Chevening Scholarship, I think we can open it up for the audience to give their comments or questions. Thank you all for listening once again.
Okay, great. So yeah, I will be the one taking the. I'll be the one starting. And this person who's yes. So it's time for questions. First of all, I will go through the questions in the chat box. Lead you the few questions earlier on.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so
we can begin with those. Actually, let's begin with those, and then if during my answering I've not answered your question you want to ask, then you can still put your hand up and ask.
Okay, yeah, so in the meantime, guys, you can lower your hands. We will first address questions that were in the chat box, and then later on, we'll then take questions from the members of the audience whose hands are up. So the first question I have here is, can one application be submitted to 3 different universities? I think it means the courses. You can just answer and then we go to the next.
Okay, so applying for Chevening Scholarship is different than applying for the course. The essays I went through, 4 of them are for Chevening Scholarship. Now, you will go to the university-specific website and look at the university, the specific course website or page, and then you read that course in the university website and understand how can somebody apply, or what are the requirements. Every course will have different requirements and criteria and so on. So you need to read from the specific university and the specific course page on their website to understand the application for that particular course. I do not think that one application, even if the course is similar, will be the same for all universities. You have to keep tailoring your application to the university based on the requirements and the criteria. I hope I've answered that.
Yeah, that is clear, and I agree with that. Like, you really need to, your application depends entirely on the specific needs of the university. Correct. And then there's this question. This person is asking that, can a student in his final year apply? And then another one was saying that their results are not yet out. I think yeah. So that is the question.
So I think, as I mentioned in the criteria, I'm trying to go back there. See the bullet here under the eligibility. Bullet number 3 is somebody should have completed all components of their undergraduate degree. So that's the summary there. You should have completed.
Yeah. So it's just a no. It's just a no. You cannot apply.
Yeah.
And then another one is the person is asking. The person is asking, if I am applying for a similar course in 3 different universities, could the essays? No, the essays are not for the university, if I can get it clearly. The essays are for the scholarship application, because there's 2 things here. Yeah, there's the scholarship application and there is the university application. So the essays, that Dr. Leju explained are essays for the scholarship, not for the universities. Yeah, so I think we can just take questions from people whose hands are up. Moses Taban, you can ask your question. Please make sure your question is straightforward. We don't need beating around the bush. Moses Taban, okay, you can ask.
Thanks a lot for the opportunity. Hope you can hear me. Thanks clearly. A lot, Dr. Leju, for having taken us through. I think some of us have really benefited. My questions could be like three. One is, previously someone told me that for you to qualify, you should have undergone the international language testing, and you need to have a certificate. I don't know if it is still a requirement. Second will be like, I know different people could use a different method of calculating the words limit. So I don't know what method could you maybe guide the team here, just to help also understand that, okay, I've reached now the 500 words that is required. Number three, if you can also maybe support in mentioning some of the universities that one can, of course, obtain admission in case. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. I will start with the last one. Universities in UK are so many. I don't think I will mention for you which ones, but one thing maybe is go through the course you want to do. For example, if you want to do business administration, master in business administration, you could go to Google search engine and put the MBA in UK, which university, and then they will show you a lot of universities that give that course. I think that's what I can say about that. Regarding the second question, which was about, what was it about again? Sorry, Bida? Or the person could ask.
The second one was about what limit in writing the essays.
Yes, how to count those. Well, by the way, you can do your work, your essay writing on a Word document on your desktop. You don't need to be online. So you can write all your essays first on a desktop, on a Word document. Maybe they are all reviewed all at once. And then once you are sure this essay is good, you can now copy and paste in the online application field where you are supposed to put that specific essay. So the Word document definitely counts words. It tells you how many words. But another option is also you can highlight the whole thing and it will tell you how many words you have highlighted. There's no scientific or rather specific way you want to know to count words. And then the first question about the English language tests. English language test scores are not needed for Chevening Scholarship, but depending on the course and the university, you might be required to take an English language test. Okay, so some universities, the English language test becomes one of the conditions before they give you unconditional offer. For example, I mentioned earlier that I actually applied to University of Bristol, and from start, they gave me unconditional offer. I think different universities have different approaches. Some universities consider your country of studies, if it is a largely English-speaking country, like Uganda, where I studied, some universities exempt you from that, okay? But other courses might require higher scores than other courses, okay? Some courses require higher scores than other courses. So yes, to answer you, the English language test is not required for Chevening Scholarship application, but remember, the university might require it for you to be admitted fully. Next.
Okay, great. Yeah, that is very clear. Madra Peter, you can ask your question, please. Okay, Moro Moses, you can go. Moro Moses, you can go.
Yeah, Vida, thanks very much for giving me this opportunity, and I much appreciate Mr. Leju for this comprehensive and elaborate presentation. Actually, I'm one of the guys who tried last year, and I didn't go through, but I progressed from the sifting stage around January. February, that was when they wrote to me that I was not successful. And following that experience, I've learned a lot. And in addition to what has been presented today, I know I'm going to make it better. It has, in fact, motivated me very much. However, I want to have some few remarks. As Mr. Leju has said, for those of us who are new, hello.
Go ahead.
For those who are new, I'm advising on these two important things. When we are applying, we have to familiarize ourselves in depth by using the FAQs and then the guidance links. Those are very important. It will help us in answering all the questions that we might need. And then two, the mentorship, the guidance from colleagues, as it has been put forward. This one impacted on me, in fact, because I was in a very difficult place with the limited network when I was applying, and it prevented me from coordinating and interacting with those people who have a lot of experience in it. So this element of networking and coordinating to make sure your work looks tangible is very key. However, I want to point out on other few things regarding some of the requirements or criteria. One is the fee cap. When we are sorting for our courses, Chevening has a limited amount that they normally give out, and you have to be very careful when you are choosing your university. It should not go beyond that, otherwise it will affect your selection, or it may prompt you to present some additional source of resources, how you are going to top up. Two is the relevancy of the timing, the opening of the university you are interested in. It has to be in line with the Chevening timeline, because if you apply for a university that are taking people to in January or April, when still their Chevening is in the process, it means it will not be consistent with their timing. Those are two important things. And then three, that when you are now working on your AC, that
Hello, looks like we lost you. We can't seem to hear you. Moro? Okay, so we can give it to Humuko Bangi. Humuko Bangi. Humuko Bangi, you can ask your question, please.
Yes, thank you very much. Good afternoon. I'm Humuko Bangi from Yambio. I'm so much happy to participate in this. I just have two questions, inquiries. One is, how different are the CVs for scholarship from the CVs we use for getting jobs? What's the difference? Can you give us some sample of the difference between the two CVs? And my second question is, somebody that has not yet graduated, that's due to graduate maybe later this year, maybe in November, can the person still start the process until when you graduate now, you begin to upload your documents? Thank you so much.
Okay, Leju, maybe you can answer. I see there are a lot of hands up. So just answer and then we go to the next. Okay, Madra, Peter, you can ask your question.
Yes, thank you very much. Before I realized that I did not unmute myself, so you guys are not hearing me. Mine is all about the uploading of the document. Because said I also applied once in 2020, where I was not successful by then. And then I'm here really to rectify myself at this moment. My question is about the document uploading. What are those documents that are really necessary to be uploaded in the Chevening and also at the same time in applying for the courses in the universities. So does it mean you have to upload the document right from the primary up to the university, or you will upload the one for universities that you're going to upload there?
Okay, thank you so much, Madra.
Yes.
Stanley Farr Palette. You can ask your question, please. Stanley Farr Palette. Okay. Dr. Muni Safi, you can ask your question, please. Dr. Muni Safi.
Okay, good evening, colleagues, and thank you, Dr. Leju, for the insightful and elaborate presentation. I just have one or two questions to ask. One is on the English language test timing and the centers where this is done. Because if one happens to go through a university which requires the English language test, then I think the timing also is very critical. And then on the working hours, I would like to know, maybe if someone has you need to include all the experience, or you can just choose some in terms of the working hours. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you so much, Dr. Muni. And then we have Kuku Ali. Kuku Ali, you can ask your question, please.
Kuku
Ali. Yes.
Bida, are you
Yes.
noting down the questions? I'm trying to scribble around and looking for a pen. I'm not getting.
No problem. Because okay. I had wanted you to answer them immediately, but I lost you somehow. Are you back?
Sorry. It's okay. So do you want me to respond immediately?
Yes, that would be better.
Okay, so the work hours, let me start from that question from Dr. Muni. The work hours, really all your work experience, even if you have worked for 10 years and you can describe the time from which year to which year and the hours of work per week, you just put all that. It can be maybe, I don't know, 20,000 hours of work. That's not a problem. So you don't need to leave out some work experience because you think you want to only provide 2,800 work hours. No, just put all your work experience there. Let them see you have worked for this long and these are your progress. This is your progress in terms of maybe positions you have held and so on. Regarding the timing for IELTS, or rather, let me call it English language test, there is no specific timing. And that's why I said after you you submit your Chevening application, start working on applying to the universities. Okay, because I want you to focus on applying to Chevening first. Then remember those 3 courses you have mentioned in the application, make sure you apply to each of them and any others that you might wish to apply to. After you have applied to all these universities, then now the target should shift to what? English language test. For example, IELTS is being offered in Uganda, Kenya. It's not in South Sudan at the moment. So the British Council in Uganda will be able to offer you that test. You have to book online. You pay the amount of money, $335, something like that. And then you will book your time that you want to do the test. Usually you can book even 3 months ahead. And then you will use that time to prepare for the test. And you can take the test within 2 weeks. The result should be out. And after that, you see, has it met the requirement of the university you applied to? If it has not met, then that means you need to retake it so that you get higher scores. So there's no specific timeline for that, but the earlier you do it, the better. Because some people are there who have missed the final deadline for submitting unconditional offer because they did not do IELTS in time. And the IELTS, took longer to come out before the deadline, and they miss the Chevening Scholarship because of such things. Thank you.
Okay, and then the other question was, someone was asking, like, what CV do they want? Is it the same like the job application CV or not?
So again, the CV mostly is for the university applications, and different universities will have different formats and requirements. I would want to repeat that everybody should first go to the university site and read about the course they want to do and how do you apply for that course and what are the requirements. They will always be in the website there. Applications will be online. So there's a lot of information you can find from there. For example, University of Oxford has a certain different way your CV should look. So you might just have to download theirs and copy and paste the information they want into it and make sure it is readable and clean, and then you can upload in the format they want. So it's not just the CV you submit. It might be guided by the university's interest. Thank you.
Correct. Yes, Moses Galwak, you can ask your question, and then KG, you can prepare. Moses Galwak, you can ask.
My question is not yet answered. This is Madam Peter.
Yes, Galwak, you can ask your question.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. My question is, wanted to know if there's any reference to thematic areas that Chevening is considering when people are making the applications, because I've seen a little bit in the past few years, there has been a trend of specific areas where they're trying to pick candidates from. So does this affect the application from other thematic areas, or it has something to do with the strength of your application and etc.? Also, I wanted to ask Leju to clarify on the unconditional letter offer from the university. Is this unconditional or conditional offer? Does it mean that you have to fully clear with the university, pay all the application fees with them, you have the letter, and then now you can you can continue doing the application process? But if then you miss in your first attempt, and are you able to use the same offer letter from the university that you applied for the second attempt, if you want to also get to try on another attempt? That was my question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, I'll begin from the last one. Unconditional offer. Like I said, one university gave me unconditional offer from the moment I submitted my application. It means what? I have met all their criteria for the course I wanted to do in that university. So they gave me unconditional offer. I did not pay any money. And they already mentioned, of course, how much I was supposed to pay or deposit and stuff like that. But if I wanted to pursue studies in that university, I would have submitted that unconditional offer to Chevening, and then they will work out the payment of the deposit and all that stuff with the university. Okay, that's what it means. Other universities, however, will first give you conditional offer with the conditions listed out. For example, University College London gave me only the condition of English language. I had to meet certain bands for me to be given the unconditional offer. London School, on the other hand, had more conditions than just the English language test, which was also one of the conditions. So when you receive a conditional offer, there are listed conditions in it that you must fulfill. Once you fulfill all of them, then they will have to now send you unconditional offer. Some of the conditions which are related to money, finances, and so on, for example, for London School, you tell them you are a Chevening Scholar, or you have been given conditional award from Chevening Chevening Scholarship. So you want them to waive the other conditions of deposit and stuff like that. They can do it. The university, if the university is a partner of Chevening Scholarships, they will do it. And then now it becomes between them, university and Chevening, not your business. But there are specific conditions that you must meet before they give you unconditional offer. That's the meaning. In terms of areas, thematic areas, or which fields Chevening takes people for, I don't think I'm the right person to respond to that. But I do not believe that they are selective in the thematic areas they pick people for. Rather, it should be coming from how competitive somebody has written their application. That's what I would say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. KG, you can ask your question, please. And then Clement, So
there are some questions in the chat box I have seen.
Okay, yeah, I will read them. KG, you can ask your question.
Hello, everyone. I think it's more of the same questions in the chat box. It corresponds to most. So it's just a brief one. For example, if you graduated from, let's say, university, or you had a bachelor's degree, is it a one way that you can apply immediately, or is there a restriction that you have to first work, maybe let's say for a year or 2 years before you can apply?
Thank you,
That's
KG.
all.
The answer is yes, only if you can justify the 2,800 experience hours. If you have been doing voluntary work, internships in between, and so on, that you can demonstrate in your essays and other things that you have learned from, or you have gained and you have impacted, and they add up to 2,800 hours of work, you may immediately go for the application and maybe even go for your master's from your bachelor's degree direct. But if you cannot justify or prove that you have had 2,800 hours or more of work, that might not be a good idea because it will not work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So from the chat box, the first question, somebody's asking that, somebody's asking, my question is about two reference. Is the referees must be from Chevening Scholar, students, or alumni, the referees?
No, not necessarily a Chevening scholar or student or something. Professionals, tutors, or lecturers are usually the best people to provide references. Either somebody you have worked with professionally, or they have taught you, or at least not your relative.
Okay, thank you. And then another one is asking, how many scholars does Chevening normally take? How many scholars?
So
per scholarship window?
All over the world is about 1,400 to 1,500 every year. But I am told that it is according to countries. Different countries have different number, apportioned to them. So I think they use like quota system. For example, for South Sudan, I think the last few years they have been taking maximum of 6. This year, I am told they have selected 8. I don't know how many they will want to take in the future, but different countries have different numbers, and I don't know the criteria they use for awarding those vacancies.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I think that is more of a technical question that you cannot answer. Yeah. And then another person is asking that, is it a must to have work experience related to the course you are applying for?
The work experience does not need to be directly related to the course you are applying for, but like I mentioned, it will show more consistency, and show more focus and development and being career oriented to a certain side if you are applying for a course related to what you do, but it doesn't need to be related.
Yeah, and somebody is asking, can I qualify for this scholarship? Yet I haven't graduated. I think no. People should be patient at least, yeah?
But again,
another one.
Ida, sorry, I am still projecting. I'm still sharing the slide on eligibility, and the things are clear there. Okay, somebody should have completed all components of undergraduate degrey.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
And then, another one is another one. Somebody is asking that the age limit. Is there age limit for the?
No. No.
Okay, no age limit.
No.
And then another person is asking, applications will be online on their website. Yeah, correct. Okay, and then another one is my major issues. No, this is not a question. Another is asking, can Chevening program charter for all the programs for the academic year? What quality of essay needed to qualify for the program? I think you already explained that in terms of the essays. So some people, you can later on check through the presentation when we share them. Another one is how many vacancies for a specific country is already answered. Another one is, does Chevening Scholarship consider relocation with a child? That will be on your own expenses, right?
Yes, right? I replied to that person actually. Yeah. So it's on the student's own expense. Visa processing, flight booking, they stay in the UK, they will not take care of the other person.
Yeah. And then another is asking, are there specific universities for the Chevening Scholarship?
Sure, not all universities in the UK are partners with the Chevening. So you need to find that from the Chevening website, whether the university you want to go to is a partner Okay, so again, in this same slide I'm currently projecting, they are saying apply to 3 different eligible UK university courses. This is itself a link here for you to look at what are those courses and which universities.
Yeah. And another one was asking which documents should be uploaded
okay,
when it comes to the upload.
So like I mentioned earlier, applying for Chevening, you do not necessarily need to upload your academic transcripts and documents and then the references immediately the time you are applying. You will have that chance in February if you progress to interview stage. However, for the universities, again, it is up to the university and the course you want to apply to. They will usually mention what documents you need to upload for them. I have seen also in the chat box somebody asking how will the universities verify your documents. Of course, you send your scanned copies of your documents. If the universities like London School of Hygiene, they will want the university you have completed from to write to them and send the documents that you have sent to them. So using a university email, for example, just to be sure what you have submitted to them is authentic. But other universities will not go that route. So it depends on which university, but you can scan your documents and send them, whatever is asked of you.
Okay, great. And then another person is saying, what is the fee cap that Chevening can pay beyond which can be paid by the individual?
Usually, like I mentioned, it's fully funded. So those universities which are partners of Chevening, they will be the ones to share the cost. The university contributes some amount and then Chevening covers the rest. I think it's usually 10% to 20%. Chevening covers the rest. So there's really no contribution from you as a student, at least for the courses that I know people have gone for. Thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah, and somebody is asking, is the application online or it needs to be physical? The application is online. I think I can answer that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Clement Ladu, you can ask your question, please. Clement Ladu, if you are still there. Clement Ladu, you can ask your question. Okay, Machol Joseph Alaire, you can ask your question. Or Andrew Mangok, whoever comes first, or Machar Tut, whoever comes first, you can. Yes,
hello,
Machol,
please. Hello.
Okay, thank you so much. This is Andrew speaking. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you
Can you
for
hear me?
guiding us through this.
Hello.
To know more about how.
Hello.
Okay, now we have as challenges in essay writing, and all help ourselves together so that whoever is lagging behind can be helped and is pushed to that level where you guys are reached. And now my suggestion here is maybe we can form a WhatsApp group, all of us, and then we all get into there. We'll be asking questions here and there, then having Zoom. Maybe Zoom we can have it once in a while, but at least WhatsApp will engage all of us. Is that suggestion going to work for us, or?
Peter, you can
question
I've
been asked.
Okay, great. So we have another hand from Alex Motibia. Alex Motibia, please. You can.
Bashar is here. Don't know where I'm here. Yes, good afternoon. I am Alex, and I just want to be specific to only one question that was asked in the inbox, but it's not responded to. Like those ones that are still have not graduated, are they still eligible for the selection criteria? And maybe our testimony is also applicable in case if the transcripts are not yet out. I think that is the only question I want to ask. Thank you so much.
We have answered that question severally. The answer is no. You need to have completed and get your documents, certificate, transcript, original, and then you can now apply. Next question.
Yes. Mayuan James, you can ask this. Mayuan James.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you for your presentation. It was so good. And it's a very good initiative that you are guiding your fellow South Sudanese. I I would love to ask about, I want to know about like 4 things, and I would be really so happy if you guide me through. One of them is, if I'm to apply as a refugee, how of what advantage will it be to me then apply? Then the other third one, the second one is, which intakes? Is it there's January and April, from what I heard from our host, and if there are another intake that you think is okay, it is also fine if you break it down to us. Then the third one is,
I'm not hearing that person asking the question.
Yeah, Leju, I think our time is up. Maybe you can just wrap it, and then any other questions, any other discussions can happen in the WhatsApp group. If you really have any questions, you can ask in the WhatsApp group, or Leju has shared his email. You can send him an email. Our time is really up. Leju,
Sure,
you can
thank
just.
Thank you so much.
If you can allow me, I have something burning. If you can allow me.
Unfortunately, we cannot allow. Time is up. Leju, just wrap up.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bida and Excellence Foundation for South Sudan for this opportunity once again. I want to thank everyone who has stayed in this call, asked questions. I know we've not answered all questions yet. Please join the WhatsApp group that Bida created. Somebody was suggesting creation of a WhatsApp group, but there's already one that is useful in such instances. Join that WhatsApp group, ask all the questions there. I will be able to respond to them as much as possible. I wouldn't encourage you asking questions through the email. I would rather prefer you sending me essays to review. And I will be updating in the WhatsApp group how many essays I've received, so that when I reach my ceiling of 20, I will also not accept any more essays, because I need to provide good feedback. I think that's all from me. Thank you all so much, whoever is planning to attempt the application this year. Good luck to you. You make sure you follow what I have advised, preparing enough, doing your homework early, and making sure you put up a very competitive application as well. Thank you all so much, and have a very blessed